So Lukaku lost the World Cup game. He lost the UCL Final. He also might lose Megan Thee Stallion after the game. The fact that you're doing
This
it
is
in
the
this
first
stage.
one.
It's the first
He's
one.
doing it in the stage.
But it's the biggest
But so did
one.
Chris Middleton, and you're not saying he's a number 2. Welcome back to the VTR podcast.
We're getting closer to 100 subscribers, so please subscribe.
Follow our socials link down below for our TikTok, our Instagram, and our Twitter, as well as our audio platforms down below.
But before we get started, we're getting close to a month of uploading now.
Yeah.
So thank you guys for the following and support so far, and hopefully we could grow even further the next month.
Yeah, and then like Jovan said, give us 100 subscribers, please.
Yeah, I mean we survived a month. At least that'll be good.
Yeah. All
That's
right.
good so far.
Let's get going. Let's start off with something different. Normally we start off with the NHL. We start off with the NBA. Let's start off with some soccer. Some Champions League final.
I mean, it's Champions League final. Obviously, you got to start off with it. The biggest game of the season, other than World Cup.
Yeah. So the Champions League happened on Saturday. It was between Inter Milan and Manchester City, and on the previous episode we said City got this easily.
And
3-0 by me was the prediction. 2-0 was by you.
I was like 2-0.
But more so, like, it was going to be, like, City dominated. It was going to be, like, a boring match. It was okay still, but City did win 1-0, so they did complete the treble, which sucks as a United fan. But the game wasn't, like, City dominating.
Inter was the better team.
Yeah.
And there's no arguments about it.
Yeah, I mean,
There's no arguments about it.
there were moments for sure where City had, but I wouldn't say, like you said, they weren't definitely, like, how Man City was against Arsenal during the year type of thing. Like when we saw when they needed to win, they came out and just put their name on that field. This game, like I said, it was similar to the FA Cup final, except for the 13-second goal. It was like the same nonchalant City performance. Like Erling Haaland didn't do much again.
Yeah, he was quiet.
The key thing was Kevin De Bruyne got injured like 30 minutes in. And
Yeah,
that obviously hurt their playmaking a bit. But you want to start off with let's start off with Inter, actually.
You want to go Inter?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go Inter then.
Like you said, Inter Milan should have won it. They had the chances.
They had the
early
better
on.
chances.
They had the better chances. I want to say they had like a clear cut in the first half, like a clear cut chance.
First half, I don't think really anyone had. Maybe
nothing clear cut.
Maybe City had probably one or two where Onana had to make some saves, but Inter didn't have any clear cut in the first half.
The question was, we already knew Lautaro Martinez was going to start. Obviously, I know you have some thoughts on that.
With Dzeko up
But
top.
the question was with Dzeko or with Romelu Lukaku, and they ended up going with Dzeko. And so it wasn't surprising, but they did well. They held the midfield. Inzaghi, the manager, had a good game plan. Held City. They obviously couldn't press much because Onana's actually good with his feet, unlike De Gea when they played in the FA Cup final.
His composure is mad, bro.
Yeah.
That's actually he's not. You know when goalies get it and they just play it out to the sidelines right away? He's playing passes like
in the middle
through the forward line of City into the center mids.
Yeah, and then like they had the chances later on second half as well. They made the changes. Obviously the game slightly changed when De Bruyne got out, and they didn't have like De Bruyne obviously.
I would disagree. I feel like it was the same really. They did still have more possession, but they didn't really do much with it.
Yeah.
And it's not like De Bruyne was like making a
but
difference.
But he would have been
himself.
like more of an impact still.
But he wasn't really making a difference himself when he was on the pitch.
Anyways, just sticking back to Inter, it was just like when Lukaku came on, and the chances weren't there. Like they couldn't. The final ball wasn't there.
It wasn't there, and I feel like it wasn't there for both teams.
Yeah, like with the Inter in this case, like when they were trying to play that ball long or across or whatever, it would get blocked by one of like the City center backs, like a Kanji. John Stones had a massive game in that regard.
Yeah, we'll get onto that later.
And like just on the defensive side of things, he was breaking up play well with a Kanji and them, and it's just like Lukaku. We thought we're like, all right, let's go, right? Like we were rooting for him.
Obviously, because we're rooting for Inter as well.
Yeah, and he put up a stinker. Lautaro Martinez didn't play well either.
He was the worst player on the pitch, by far. There was no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Lautaro just getting rid of the ball. He had that one chance where could have played it across, but the angle was too tight and he shot it, and Ederson made an easy save. No, Lautaro Martinez really fell off in the World Cup, and yeah, maybe didn't watch Inter much after the World Cup. Maybe he played well, maybe he didn't, but
On the big games,
World
he
Cup,
hasn't.
absolute dud.
He got
Champions League
benched
final,
for Alvarez.
absolute dud.
Yeah. Aside from that, I think like DeMarco should have been better on crossing the ball, and same with Dumfries in a way.
But those two were really good though. Like they really had themselves a game. Those their wing backs were really good.
Yeah.
Obviously crosses should be a little bit better, but DeMarco uh was really a threat on that left side.
Yeah.
He also had that chance where he hit the crossbar and then the rebound hit Lukaku. And then Dumfries was doing his job. He was getting up the pitch well. Yeah, crosses maybe could have been a little bit better, but there were some decent balls put in where
Yeah.
the runs were not made.
When Rodri scored his goal, and we thought like, okay, yeah, in our heads was like over, which obviously in hindsight it became over, but it wasn't like they went back down. Like I said, Lukaku had that chance. It was a scramble, then he ended up blocking it. I'm not gonna say he put his foot out or anything. It was just
It
headed
was
towards
incredible
him.
defending by Romelu Lukaku.
But it was headed towards him, and it's fine. Whatever. The next play though, he should have scored. Like Ederson made a miraculous save. I don't know if it was just like instinctual, and at the same time it wasn't like Lukaku had the whole net. He could have easily buried that. Obviously, the one initial to that block, the Lukaku block was like the rainbow header that hit the
Yeah, that was a
crossbar.
DeMarco. So
Yeah.
DeMarco did the rainbow header.
Obviously, I don't think it should have been like a rainbow. It should have been like a liner.
Yeah, but like
But
off the crossbar, he was trying to chip, dink it over Edison,
yeah.
and then gets the rebound back, and then hits Lukaku.
And then before we transition over to City, last thing was they had the last minute corner kick to at least tie it to force extras, and obviously Ederson came up clutch again.
Yeah. Another thing was Andre Onana was absolutely incredible, right? He made some big saves. There was this one on Haaland or was it Silva? Remember the one? It was
Yeah.
like near the end where they let
Yeah, it
the
could
inner
have been two
defense
nothing.
let.
Yeah, it could have been 2-0.
No, it was Foden. It was Foden.
Yeah, it could
Yeah,
have
and
been 2-0.
it could have been 2-0. Onana made a big save. Like we mentioned, his footwork, man. Oh my god,
Yeah,
that composure.
he's available. I think he
That
might be available
composure.
for transfer.
Yeah,
So,
he's also Prison FC too.
yeah.
But another thing was Lukaku. He did it again, right? Because in the World Cup he did
Belgium,
against
same
Croatia,
thing.
right?
Yeah.
So Lukaku lost the World Cup game. He lost the UCL final. He also might lose Megan Thee Stallion after the game.
Everybody was pumped. Like Chelsea fans were pumped when they found out. Oh yeah, he begged Megan Thee Stallion, and he's gonna come back to Chelsea. Obviously, well, on paper he's coming back to Chelsea, and he'll be nuts for them. But obviously, who knows? I don't know how true their relationship is, but we don't need to get into that for sure. But yeah, he's 0 for 3 in this sense this
He
year.
might be over 3. Megan Thee Stallion still with them.
Well, I saw rumors that she's unfollowed him, but I don't know how true that is. If it's just a meme or not.
Imagine, that
But,
would be jokes.
but yeah, no. Let's move over to Man City. I guess man of the match for me was Ederson, like we said.
Yeah, there were 3 for me.
Yeah, name yours.
Ederson obviously won.
Yeah.
Big saves. John Stones and Rodri.
I also have Bernardo Silva added.
You did?
Yeah,
I-
I felt like Bernardo Silva on the wing was incredible.
Actually?
He was. I felt like he was that main attacking. Well, not I want to say the main attacking piece, but
He was the only one that's threatening.
yeah, he was the most threatening in my opinion out of the both wingers. And he was going at him, getting crosses in and stuff. But going back to Ederson, like I said, he easily could have been like 2-1 down, 1-1 going into extras, and we don't know what could have happened.
It should have been 1-1 at least.
Yeah, for sure. That at least that Lukaku save he made should have made it 1-1 for sure. Like there was no debate about it. John Stones though,
Absolute
dude,
masterclass.
when
by
he first
Stones.
came, he was like struggling with City, and then all of a sudden he's killing it.
And now this was CDM Stones as well.
Yeah, because of the
Making those runs with the ball. Obviously, him and Rodri were like just bossing the midfield a little bit, Because in the first half, they weren't really connecting passes well either. Like they could have easily countered so many times,
Yeah.
but then Stones and Rodri were always interrupting them. So obviously Rodri with the goal, that's why I
that
had
was
to
a
put him in there.
banger goal.
Great finish, absolute bullet.
outside of a curler on two
Yeah,
guys.
curler around 2 guys into the bottom corner, and it was a bullet. Like Onana wasn't moving, and even if you blocked that, that was a stinker. That would have stung.
Yeah,
Bad.
which is yeah, it was just perfect placement. On obviously you can't blame Anana too much on that. It was like their main chance outside of the phone and one late.
And then probably one in the early
Yeah,
in the game.
it sucks because listen, like obviously as a Man United fan, you go on Twitter, everybody's like, "Oh yeah, you spent 200 million or 300 million on this squad or whatever the case may
Bro,
be."
it's like 1.2 billion.
Yeah. And then it was. You see all those memes because they were comparing it to the '99 treble, and then obviously the Man United fans are like, "Oh yeah, well this," because like more of an academy team or players, like homegrown players, which is fine and all. I get it, but that's
It's the
just being in
game now.
denial.
It's
It's
the
just
game
yeah,
now.
we can't be in denial. At the end of the day, yes, I'm a United
Unless
fan,
unless it's clear cut they broke the rules.
which supposedly they did with the 100.
Supposedly did, right?
They do have 115 charges again. I don't know the details too much of that, so I'm not gonna get into it.
But like if that comes out, obviously they know where they get punished, then it's a different story.
Yeah, but
But
no, just
as of now, you gotta give them their flowers.
yeah, they completed the treble, came back. They were obviously behind in the league, came back and won that. Obviously, beat Man United last week in the FA Cup final, and now this week with the Champions League. Right, first English team since Man United from that '99 season, winning the treble. Before we get into the manager debate, Erling Haaland struggled again though.
Him and Gundogan were pretty quiet for me.
Well, Haaland in general has just been
Yeah,
struggling for the
Holland,
last
Holland.
bit. Like, because I have a question for Haaland in a second though, but back to the City thing. It's just like that is the game now. You have to. That's why like a lot of United fans are clamoring for
Qatari
Qatari
owners.
owners because at the end of the day, you saw what Ten Hag did with that, and not to make this about Man United, but it's not just Man United, but other teams as well. Like I know Liverpool has some ownership concerns, but that's the game. Like you got to spend. Like Newcastle's eventually going to start spending, right? And then you have to make it work, which Pep Guardiola did in terms of the egos and stuff. And that's the game now, unfortunately. So that's why like every team around Europe is essentially clamoring for like, okay, we need to get a money squad in. But at the same time, like I said, it is a money squad. It is what it is. They deserve their credit though.
Yeah, like City, you gotta give them their flowers here because the FA Cup final and the UCL, they were not at their best, right?
Yeah.
And the great teams always find a way to win, and
Yeah.
they found ways to win the FA Cup final and the
You
UCL
know,
final.
they've been struggling in at least in the European side of things a lot. They finally came across, and Pep didn't overthink it like he did in the Chelsea final from 2019, it was, or 18,
Oh,
or 20,
no.
2021, sorry. I
Yeah,
was thinking
it was like
21,
year before
21.
last year.
Yeah, it was 21. But, and at the same time, you look at a team like PSG who've followed that money path and nothing happened out of it, right? They're firing managers left and right. They're losing players left and right. So you gotta give them their props. Hopefully, other teams, you know, especially Man United, learn from this, and we go from there. But back to the Erling Haaland. Obviously, he struggled this last stretch of the season, and my question to you is he the Ballon d'Or favorite now?
It's tough. It's very tough. Obviously, the goal record is gonna help him. Now a treble is gonna help him. Messi has a case with his World Cup, obviously.
But he hasn't done like I think he was okay in the league.
He was still okay.
but it was still it's just the French league.
This is French league, right? So it's very tough.
Like obviously we don't know how like favoritism is obviously a factor at times, right?
A favorite, yeah. Obviously,
Like I don't know if Messi should get it this time, but like obviously him leaving might play a factor in that.
I feel like Messi might have the advantage just because, like,
The World Cup story.
yeah, that way. But
Wait, is it? No, it's not calendar year. Sorry, if it was calendar year, then he was not eligible. But in my opinion, then he should have not won.
well,
But
then it was
it's the
Holland.
season.
If it was calendar year, then it was Holland.
I think it's season now.
It's season now. I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a tough one. Like obviously, I won't. I think they're top two, right? They has to be top. They're the top two.
For now, yeah.
Like I don't think Mbappe has done much.
No, it's not Mbappe. It's nothing. It's
And
not
there's no
anyone
one else.
really.
Lewandowski hasn't like they went to the Europa League, and then there's no one else really I could think of that could be in contention.
So yeah, I don't know how much Messi playing in the MLS will affect it. Obviously, if Holland has a strong start to next season, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it doesn't matter about next season.
I-
Yeah, I know. It's
I will
tough.
not be
They're
surprised if
top,
Holland wins though, and
I
I will
won't-
not be surprised
yeah.
if Messi wins.
I would agree. I won't
Who's
be
your vote?
surprised.
Who would
either.
you give your vote? Is the question.
As
And don't take the nostalgia factor into this
oh, that's hard.
because it's a
That's
vote.
tough.
It's an award. You can't put that into this. For me, it might have to be Holland. Honestly, the goal record in one of the toughest competitive leagues in the world. You got a treble. He at the end of the day, yeah, he may have struggled in the FA Cup final and the Champions League final, but he was a big factor in the games wins against Bayern and Real Madrid.
Yeah. Reason why I would go with Messi.
Why?
at 35 to have that run in the World Cup, it's not like he got carried, right? He was carrying, right? Game against Mexico where they needed to win, he did his job. Man got, I think, what, most goals and assists, right? Obviously,
I think he tied for goals.
tied for goals,
Or
but
like
like
one
combined,
short.
if you combine them, he got the
Yeah.
most, obviously. Uh, Golden Ball winner.
But that's just one tournament. It's a big tournament.
It's the
But it's a
biggest tournament.
But that's one trophy.
Hardest trophy to win.
But that's not. It's not.
Hardest
But
trophy
it's
to
not
win.
Holland's fault that he's not in it.
Yeah, you
You
could
gotta
argue
look at the
that.
squad too. Like even if Holland qualified for World Cup, you realistically
Okay,
think
then look at
Norway is gonna make it to the final.
yeah, but
But then
then
if you look at the PSG team, that team should have made it far.
that's the team
That
should have made it
PSG
right
team
there.
should have made it far. They should have been in contention for trouble themselves.
Who did they lose to again?
Was it Man City?
Oh, it was Bayern. It was Bayern.
Or sorry, Bayern Munich. Yeah.
Yeah. It's tough. It's very tough. I just feel like the World Cup might be the determining factor.
For me, it's like the goal record. Obviously,
And-
he's still like
and the treble, right?
for the English Premier goal record. Sorry, season, not
Yeah.
the overall. And he got 3 trophies in one season, right?
Does Messi have 3 or 2?
Probably 2.
Maybe
But
I don't know
like,
about any.
I hold the value of the Champions League much higher than the French title, French league. I don't know if he won.
No,
the,
you can't compare those two. You have to compare Champions League with World Cup. You can compare the Premier League title with the French League title, but
yeah,
you
the
can't compare.
Premier League title is much higher, especially.
Obviously,
the way he
Premier
did it.
League, yeah, but you can't. You have to compare the.
I feel like Messi will end up getting it.
You have to
I don't
compare
know
the
why.
UCL with the
I just
World
have that
Cup.
feeling Messi will end up getting it, and this will obviously be his last one. Probably
This will be his
ever.
last one. This is his last one.
But
I think
feel
that
like
factor will
it's like
play
that. It's
into
like
it.
that Lewandowski year. Well, obviously they should not cancel the year, but even like the second one when Messi won it, like obviously that was it's a similar situation in my opinion.
Yeah,
But
I think.
But this one is more of a case because Holland legit has a treble.
I think Messi's gonna get it. I think they will give it to Messi
Yeah, well, we'll see that when that time comes. but
one last time. I don't know. Maybe that's why.
I know I don't think that's wrong if that's the reason why, but
Yeah, who knows?
but we'll move on to one other thing. We're gonna revisit this conversation we had earlier in the year or earlier in the month, the Pep Mourinho debate. Then I have another question following up, and you probably know what that question is. But let's go back to the Pep Mourinho debate, right? We said Pep obviously. I'll bring up the stats. Like Mourinho had the harder championships won, but Pep probably has the quantity.
The treble. I might have to change. Obviously, I give the edge to Mourinho a little
The
bit.
first manager to get 2 trebles in history.
First manager to get 2 trebles. It was literally the UCL, bro. Like, I'll be honest with you.
So here's the thing: Pep Guardiola's a manager, 3 times Champions League winner, 5 times Premier League winner, 3 times Bundesliga winner, 3 times La Liga winner, 3 times UEFA Super Cup winner, 2-time DFB Pokal winner, 2-time FA Cup winner.
Yeah, no, the thing is this.
2-time Copa del Rey winner, 4-time English League Cup winner, 2-time Spanish Super.
Yeah,
Copa.
he's won a lot, right?
But his squads are also
better.
massive.
They're also better, right?
Yeah.
That's one thing. Like, you gotta compare coaching styles, right? Like, how do they get the best out of their team? I feel like they both get the best out of their team, so it's really tough.
Here's the thing: Pep stays at his jobs longer than Mourinho does.
That's true
And
too.
there's a
That
reason
that,
between
that should be a factor.
Because
as
like
well.
I'm not saying Mourinho's a bad coach. It's just I don't know if he's a great leader in terms of coaches. Because like clearly like he had issues with Pogba, he had issues with other players. They don't fit his style. It's like the Daryl Sutter of soccer in a way. It's like his way, and then he wants shit done accordingly. Whereas Mourinho is a player's coach for sure. Oh, sorry, Pep is a player's coach in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with that. For me, it was just a UCL, right? Like, you gotta win more, and he's won one more. I might be swaying over to Pep because I said Mourinho. I give the edge to Mourinho a little bit,
Just because of the quality.
just because of the
So
quality.
before
of
you make your decision, Porto, he won 2 league titles, another like the league trophy, like the Carabao Cup, the Champions League, which is the big one in 03-04, and the UEFA Cup 02-03. In Chelsea, he was a 3-time Premier League champion, 1-time FA Cup winner, and 3-time League Cup winner. In Manchester United, so add on to that a Europa League, an FA Cup runner-up, a Super Cup runner-up, the EFL Cup, so the Carabao Cup, and I said the Europa League. And then he's also, so here's the thing, he also went to other places. Inter Milan, 2-time league champion, 1-time cup champion, 1-time Champions League winner, which was in 2010, I want to say. Real Madrid, he won 1-time league, 1-time Copa del Rey, and a Super Cup. And then in Roma, he was a finalist of the Europa League, and he won the Conference League.
Yeah,
But if
obviously
you're talking about the major trophies, he's won what, 2 Champions Leagues?
accolades wise is probably Pep, for sure. But the quality of winning is definitely Mourinho.
But then if you look at overall coaching and leadership and style, like obviously Pep has a more preference of style,
Yeah,
right?
style
But
is
you
Pep.
can't compare that at the end of the day. You can't
Yeah,
say like,
because it's clear that one's offensive, one's defensive.
yeah. Okay, so obviously I agree with you. It's Pep,
It's Pep.
right? I thought it was at Pep before. Now obviously I'm not a big Mourinho guy in general, not just because of the Man United. Even before that. So here's the question: is he the GOAT manager?
Ferguson's a goat.
Because
There's-
every time you see people
there's
see this,
no-
we have people that we know they're tweeting or putting stories that he's miles ahead as the GOAT now. And like I said, people must have forgotten that Ferguson's treble wasn't, a, you know,
A rule breaker.
not
A
even just a
one-
rule breaker.
A
Just the money
1.2 billion
spent.
squad.
So here's Ferguson. Ferguson has 49 totals in his career, trophies in his career. I'm not gonna go name the Scottish ones. He's won quite a bit with the Scottish league back in the 70s, 80s,
Yeah.
mainly. But his Man United numbers: 13 Premier Leagues, 5 FA Cups, 4 League Cups, 10 Community Shields, 2 Champions Leagues, 1 European Winners' Cup, 1 European Super Cup, FIFA Club World Cup, Intercontinental Cup. So that's 38 major trophies Ferguson won,
How many years? Like 20 plus years as
and
well.
he's never finished below third place. with
Never finished below third place.
two time, and obviously Pep has one triple in a row, trio consecutive.
Yeah.
He's had
Didn't
two
he
of
have like
those.
didn't he have like a 4 in a row?
I don't think he had 4 in a row, but he had like 2, 3 in a row. But then
Yeah.
like he lost and then he came back again.
Yeah, like he always came back. Thing is this, he built like Man United in those
Back then,
times
it's essentially what Ten Hag is doing now.
is what Ten Hag was doing now. So he was able to build them up. Then obviously the Premier League era came in, and once that came in, they dominated.
Yeah,
Without really doing a spending spree, without really going
I
up
mean they've
to.
spent for sure. Like they
But
brought in
okay,
like
compared
Robin
to
van
I'm compared to Pep.
yeah, for
I'm
sure.
not compared to Pep.
Yeah,
All right, obviously they're gonna spend. So that's the reason why Ferguson's a goat.
yeah. I mean, people might say, "Oh, yeah, who's done it only in one place?" But
But it's the hardest
it's still
place.
hard to do it in one place, right? Like,
The fact that
you
you
would get-
stayed that long,
and you could get figured out usually.
Yeah, right.
Eventually, right? Like Pepe has choked Champions Leagues before, like with Byron, with City. So it's not like, yes, it's Pep top 5 for sure. Is he probably top 3? Maybe, right? Like I don't know who's out there. Like some people might say Zidane. Just he doesn't have the length of Pep, but he's won how many Champions Leagues? Like
Well,
4,
like
3,
3.
right? You could argue Carlo Ancelotti could be up
Yeah,
there.
obviously.
Mourinho is still a debate, right? But yeah, you're right. Ferguson is still the GOAT. Like Robin van Persie said, like, I don't care. The game is boring. Make it entertaining, and they ended up winning that game. And they were down like 1-0 or it was 0-0 game at half. That's what Robin van Persie said.
Wait, what do you say again?
So like essentially, there was a game that it was either they were down 1-0 or it was 0-0 at half.
Yeah,
And he essentially said that Fergie's like, dude, this game's boring.
yeah.
Make it more entertaining, right? Fergie
Okay, yeah.
played Fergie ball, which is like the Showtime Lakers in this way.
Yeah,
Like it was like a full on attacking, which is why there's a lot of Man United fans in the world for a reason. Ergo, why we are Man United fans.
yeah. It's just like they were just good over that 20-year span.
Yeah, and then like I said, obviously throwing Arsene Wenger. Obviously he hasn't.
Oh yeah,
had as
Arsene
much,
Wenger for sure. Yeah,
but
he's a
it's
definitely up
hard
there.
to win in one place, and he was never fired. Right, he retired himself.
Yeah,
Right, so
him, and then I think did Wenger retire as well? Or
no, he was like it was a mutual.
It was
I
a
think.
mutual
I
thing,
remember
right?
that
It
one
was
being a mutual.
it was mutual.
But
Yeah, no,
this one he
Fergie-
retired, legit
Yeah.
retired, and he retired on top. I think he won the league that year too.
Yeah,
Like he
they did.
lost, he tied the last game. He choked the game, but I think
Yeah.
he won the title. So yeah, no, I agree that I don't think Pep's the GOAT, mainly only because of the quality of squads each team, each manager has had. And don't get me wrong, Man United has legends, but they were like built up legends,
Yeah, they were home
right? Beckham, Giggs, Scholes,
Or even
Neville brothers.
and then you have like Rooney, who's bought young. He was an established.
Ronaldo was brought in young.
Ronaldo was bought in young. Like they weren't
Right.
they weren't already
Like they bought,
established.
yeah, they got like Berbatov, they got Tevez for the year, they got Van Persie, guys like that. Obviously Vidic and like Ferdinand came in. They brought in David De Gea, young though he was not what he was before this year, and obviously they had Edwin van der Sar. So yeah, the squad was there, but like again, like how you would eventually figure out a coach after a while. You would get tired of that coach's voice after a while, right? The fact that Rooney stayed there that whole time, right? Gary Neville, Paul Scholes, like Beckham ended up leaving because there was some drama there, but from what I remember, um, reading on stuff. But again, it's like it's hard to win in one spot,
It is
and he
for
didn't
sure.
even. He obviously had some challenges because he could have easily left himself if it was a contract thing, right? So, yeah, number one is still Ferguson. He's arguably the greatest coach in sports history. Arguably, we're not gonna get into that debate right now, but
He is.
but
He is.
yeah, it's like the accomplishment that this guy has done is insane. Like
It's insane.
in one spot. Like how do you not finish below third place once?
That's insane.
You're always in the Champions League. Yes, could he have won more Champions Leagues? 100%. He lost 2 to Barcelona in the final, obviously, and then obviously he probably could have made some more spots. But it is what it is. It's not Pep. Pep is not the GOAT by a country mile or anything like that. It is
Sir
still,
Alex Ferguson.
yeah, and he got knighted for that.
Sir.
Yeah.
He's a sir. I don't see no Sir Pep Guardiola.
Yeah. So, but I guess my final question before Pep, before we get into the international break quickly, or not break, but international soccer, um, he's accomplished everything.
Yeah.
Is it because he still has moved on, right? If it was like a Ferguson thing where he stayed in one team for a while, then I would have been like, nah, stay there. But what do you do? Should he go to a national team? Like, should he coach Spain, for example, or any national team?
I don't know how down he is, but I feel like
He's accomplished almost everything.
the fact that you move like different places.
Yeah.
I feel like if you want a coach that still wants to keep going, wants another challenge,
I feel like international
that
soccer
it has
is.
to be international soccer. I don't think it should be another club.
Yeah, like where should he go next? Like
Like,
he went to
realistically,
Germany. Like Italy's probably the only spot you could go to.
Italy's the only spot. I don't. If he goes to French league, that's
That's
he's
just
just
money.
dumb.
I feel like that's money.
That's money.
If PSG bring him in, it's just money.
That's money. Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. I think it should be definitely international. Probably be Spain because they obviously are up and down right now. You know, obviously, speaking of international, let's move on to the international soccer. Then just in general, the games are happening. Qualifiers are happening for the Euros. The Nations League, UEFA Nations League are on. I haven't looked too much into that, but we'll look into the results. But you know, us being from Canada, Canada soccer is also back, and it's actually something fun to talk about. It's not like, oh my god, like if Canada soccer was still Canada soccer from like a couple of years ago, we probably would not have even mentioned this. But they have games this week. I think it's the Nations League, CONCACAF Nations League. They play Panama in the semis, and if they win that, they got
Mexico or
Mexico
US.
or US in the final. So they have a good chance of winning a trophy. It's definitely been a while. I don't know how long it's been they win a trophy for. And then in a couple of weeks, the Gold Cup starts as well later this month.
The Women's World Cup. Yeah.
No, the
Wait,
Gold Cup.
Oh, the Gold
The
Cup. you
men's
said.
Gold Cup.
Oh, they
The
said
Women's
one-
World Cup we'll get into more in the
That's
summer.
something else. Yeah. I thought you said gold. I think you said World Cup for some reason.
No. Gold Cup. Is
Yeah,
also,
I'm all like.
the squad is not announced yet, so I don't know what's
But there's
happening.
nowadays, like, with making the World Cup, they set themselves a standard. They set themselves like
And
they set themselves an expectation that they need to reach.
they need to also qualify for the Copa America next year, which they're invited to play.
Yeah.
And they need these games because they're hosting. They're one of the hosts in 2026, and they've shown promise against Belgium that they could do it. They've played like Uruguay and
Yeah.
friendlies.
The struggle.
They need that. They need that higher end competition now.
Yeah. That I agree.
They can't.
That's what it's
They,
saying.
and they have to demolish opponents in CONCACAF outside of US and Mexico. They got to be competitive with them.
Yeah. That's for sure, because like you could tell in the World Cup that they weren't at the same level as these teams. Belgium was old, and they were shit themselves. Croatia was still good. Morocco was on the come up as well. So the competition wasn't there in preparing for the World Cup properly. Obviously, they played Uruguay and Japan, which were decent opponents, but Uruguay itself is old, and Japan is not like a. It's not like
Japan's
a
still a
France.
decent squad.
There's still a decent squad. There's a good competition.
But here's the thing for me, Canada soccer. I don't know how much the drama is still going on. Got to fix their shit. If it's still going on, fix it. If not, again, I haven't followed it too much. I hate politics, and we obviously have our cousin Jeevan in the U17 World Cup, which is in November, and if shit affects it. Like obviously, I'm not saying I heard from him, but I'm just saying in general, like
The
camps
development,
and stuff.
they're not enough.
They're not enough in terms of comparing to
The U.S.
the U.S. Right. And this is not me saying Jeevan had told me this. I'm just saying this is just general knowledge.
Like
I'm
for
hearing,
everyone.
I'm
like,
hearing from Peter Galindo, for example.
Yeah.
You hear him talk, one of the big analysts.
There's not enough camps where like these youth, the youth
Not
teams
just
to
youth,
play,
and just
and
Canada soccer.
Canada soccer in general.
And getting these opponents, like you're cutting cutting games like last year before the World Cup. Remember the games were
Yeah,
stuck in
yeah,
BC
right. Like,
place.
but what? Who did they play? Like, genuinely,
Correct.
other than Uruguay and Japan, they did not play anybody. Like
Like it's
any
because
games
they
in
were stuck
general.
in Nations League, CONCACAF Nations League and qualifiers, which is all CONCACAF teams. Like the only competition is the same team you're playing over and over again in Mexico and the
And then
US.
obviously you played Mexico and US like what, a few times because
Yeah.
of qualifying for the World Cup.
Here's the thing, man. Like Canada soccer is back. Well, it's rejuvenated. It's back. However you want to say it, or it's here. It's finally here.
But if
right?
it's not executed properly, it will go back down in the same hellhole
Yeah.
that it was before.
So obviously, I don't know what the roster is. We'll obviously tune in to the games this week. We'll try our best because the other thing is tough to watch games. And I'm not blaming One Soccer for this, but it is the whole Canada soccer side of things that we should be broadcasted to like TSN and Sportsnet or whatever the case may be. But it hopefully we get a chance to watch the games this week. I think it's on Thursday. So obviously, we'll not recap, but we'll just talk quickly about
We'll
it if
see what
anything big happens.
what happens.
At the end of the day, we're huge soccer guys, football guys, however you want to call it.
The football.
That was our first sport that we ever played, the only sport we ever played competitively. So
Yeah, we were shit
we're
at it.
invested. We were pumped up when they made the World Cup, and it sucks that they didn't get a win or a draw out of it. But we've seen the steps it was. So another big news on Canada soccer as well. Obviously, we talked about Messi joining Inter Miami last week, and Phil Neville was the coach who got sacked. Well, he has joined the Canada soccer staff.
As an
He's
assistant.
he's the assistant coach. And I forgot who the other person they brought in was. I'll quickly check that. But Phil Neville, brother of Gary Neville, was part of those Man United squads. So I feel like it's a good hire because he could bring in like the way back to Ferguson. Those
Just the
type of
name
talks.
wise, right?
Name like he's a name brand that he's been there. Like he's done that with Ferguson, so he could share that knowledge. Because the Canada soccer team, at least the core guys are young still.
Yeah, they are young for sure. Davies, Tejon Buchanan, Estacio. Like all these guys are young. They're good players and they're definitely on the come up. Tejon Buchanan
And he's also
Estacio.
reunited with Kamal Miller because Kamal Miller's on the squad.
Estacio and Buchanan showed a lot of promise in the Champions League. Obviously, Davies has done it before. And then Jonathan David was like leading goal scorer a couple of years ago, or
he was up there.
He was up
I don't know
there,
if he actually
yeah.
ended up winning the Golden Boot for the French league.
but he was a leading goal scorer.
He's
in
a
a
big
league,
name in the transfer
yeah,
window now for a reason.
in a league where you have Mbappe, Messi, and Neymar.
And then Inter Milan's also linked with Tejon Buchanan for like a while.
It's-
The other
it's-
coach is
it's getting big.
I'm gonna cut you off. Richard Shaw is the other coach that joined.
Yeah.
I don't know too much about him, but yeah. Anything else?
No.
All right, let's transition towards the NHL now. And Game 3 and Game 4 occurred after our last pod. And let's start off with Game 3 quickly before we get into Game 4.
We got an overtime victory.
Yeah, we got a close game for once. Florida started off early. They got an early goal.
With Brandon Montour.
Yeah.
Kachuk got the tying goal, and then Verhege got the winning goal.
Yeah.
But after the Montour goal, Vegas woke up, took a 2-1 lead. They were in control. Like they let that one get away for sure.
Yeah, they still played well. And then, like I said, obviously, naturally, you put the pressure on late. And Florida is that type of team to put pressure when forechecking and stuff. So they obviously got the control. And they ended up scoring. Kachuk, like you said, in front of the net, got it. Kachuk actually left injured for a bit, came back out. I think Montour did as well. I don't know if he had come back, but he did play Game 4. But, yeah, I mean, nothing much. I think that showed that Florida was going to... I had Florida winning that game, and I think you did too. But, yeah, they did what they did. I thought they woke up for sure. But then, obviously, moving on to Game 4.
But quickly before we move on, just quick question. Consummate is for whole playoffs, right?
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, emphasis will obviously be a little bit on the finals, but yeah, the whole playoffs.
I'm just saying this much. Jonathan Marchessault is probably having the series of his life right now.
Yeah, we mentioned his name last time.
Yeah. Oh, my God. He got what? Another goal? I don't know if it was 2 goals.
He had a bad first round, I think, and then he just
He's
picked it up in the
the
Edmonton
finals
series.
he's putting on right now is absolutely incredible.
Yeah, like he was the name we added, and Barbashev was the other name we added to Aiko.
But
and
Marchessault again was killer in Game 3.
I'll be honest, I don't know who it is right now.
It's very
It's
tough.
definitely not. I don't think it's Aiden Held anymore, personally. Slightly.
Yeah.
I still think it might be Eichel, but I feel like goals speak louder than what Eichel is doing.
Well, that's
behind the scenes.
Marchessault got like what? I'm pretty sure. I'm not sure if he got 2 goals that game, but he has like what 13, and then Vegas themselves obviously now transitioning to game 4. Well, Vegas were up 3-0 with Chandler Stevenson getting 2 goals and William Karlsson getting a goal. Those 3 players are in double digits in playoff goals.
Yeah.
That's mad. Aiden Hill again was good in game 4. Obviously, Bobrovsky was
Gave up a bad goal though.
the
That 3-1 goal, and that switched the game for Florida.
was it? Would you really blame him? A double deflection?
Yeah.
Bro, like no, I can't blame him on that
It's
one.
still a bad.
Like
It
no,
looks
it's a
like
bad
weird.
goal. Like as a like
Yeah, I guess as a
from-
team. Yeah.
yeah, but no, it's not on Aiden Hill. That was a double deflection. The puck wasn't even going on net.
True.
It hit one guy, then it hit the other guy, and then it went
Yeah,
in.
no, I thought it messed up. I thought I remembered as it was him letting it. I just remembered the clip of like him letting it go. I didn't realize it was a double deflection.
It was a
but-
double deflection.
But either way, the bad goal changed the game for Florida at that time. But sticking with Vegas, yeah, Vegas started off hot. They dominated. I think by the time I got home, it was already like 3-0. It was Friday, right? Yeah,
It was Saturday.
Saturday. Sorry.
You were already home. But no, it was 3-0.
Oh no, we were okay. We were filming a video that's gonna coming out later. That's what it was.
Yeah, we were recording a video, and then
But no, yeah, it was. Yeah, it was like by the time we finished recording, I'm like, I look at the score, it was like 3-0, and I'm like, what the hell happened? And then I obviously when we started watching it is when Aiden Hill, or not just Aiden Hill, Vegas let that bad goal in, and then Florida put on the pressure in the third. Like it was all Florida, and I know you were out for a bit, but that goal was set up beautifully by Montour to
it wasn't Montour. Montour got the second assist. It was Anton Lundell.
Oh, who scored it again?
Barkov.
Barkov, yeah, sorry. Barkov got his first of the series. He's been quiet for sure.
Yeah, so
But the key was like the big names for Florida stepped up, especially in game 3.
Brandon Martor, another goal and assist.
Yeah,
This game, that was incredible. Obviously, the goal was lucky,
yeah,
but can't really blame him. He's lighting it up in the last 2 games. Lundell, that was an incredible pass. That was absolutely on point. Barkov across ice,
yeah.
good goal. Bobrovsky was decent. There was one
Game 3 was definitely better. Game 4.
Game 4. There was probably I think Chandler Stevenson's first goal. It was like a mini break, and then so like a mini breakaway is obviously hard to save. But the fact that it went through Bobrovsky, that goal, so that one I believe he should have had for sure, and I believe that he wants that one back too.
Yeah, and then obviously they had a chance late to tie to go to overtime again. And
Yeah, they had
obviously,
multiple.
they missed I think a cross check as well.
Yeah, there was
Ref.
this one play like with 2 minutes left, they just randomly blew the whistle for no reason.
Yeah,
And then at the end of the whistle, Kachuk got cross-checked, and then it was no call, which
yeah. The
I
key,
completely disagree with.
So obviously the series are 3-1. Before we get into our predictions for game 5, the key also is the special teams. Oh, we barely touched on this. I don't even think we touched on it in the first couple of games. I'm gonna give you the stats. Florida 0 for 3, first game, 2 for 7 Vegas, right? And then second game, it is the 7-2 game. It was 0 for 4 Florida, 2 for 4 Vegas. All right, third game,
I think Florida was 0
2 for 6
5.
Vegas, 0 for 5
Right.
Florida. So they're not scoring. They haven't scored on the power play yet. And that last game 0 for 1 Vegas, 0 for 1 Florida. But here's the thing, right?
That's total 0 for 13 in the finals.
Yeah, and here's the thing. It's not even just like they're not scoring on the power play. How are you supposed to play a game when you're in the box half the time as well?
Yeah, a lot
Like
of
that-
penalties for sure.
Like obviously game 2 especially was the big one. Obviously it dropped down a bit. But if you're constantly in the penalty kill, I know they had like a couple of shorthanded goals. I think one at least for sure. I remember. I don't know
it
if
was
they had a
one.
second.
It was one.
Yeah. So, but even then, like it's tough to play on shorthanded as well if you're doing dumb.
Yeah,
penalties.
okay,
So
no,
the key of this series for me was
That's obviously special.
it was the special teams as well.
Here's another thing. As an underdog, you gotta capitalize on the power play.
Yeah,
That's
and not
the-
take down penalties.
Yeah, and not take down penalties. But if you were to score, you're scoring on the power play, and they have not done that, and it's shown that they're down 3-1 for a reason. 0 for 13. That's a lot. That's too
Yeah.
much.
Take away the over 13. And like I said, going back to
Because
giving the
5 on
penalties.
5, Vegas is a better team. Hands
Yeah,
down.
that plus the penalty killing. Yeah, they got a shorthanded goal, but you're also giving Eichel and Marchessault and
And
Stevenson,
Carlson and Stone,
and yeah, Mark Stone, who's been up like under
and
the
also
radar.
Theodore and Petrangelo as well.
Yeah, so you're giving them opportunities to score on the power play. So, which is that I think, like I said, I think the biggest reason why, yes, Vegas is a better team. Don't get me wrong; they've been playing the better hockey, but it's also the big special teams factor. Like that's how you take advantage, like you said. But yeah, moving on to game 5, which is Tuesday. Is it over?
It's over in 6. I said Vegas in 6
So
from
you're
the beginning.
sticking with Florida?
I think
Florida has come back from 3-1 against the best team in league history, by
but
the way.
Vegas is a different animal.
Yeah, but yeah, no, I agree with you. I think Vegas ends it in 5. I'm gonna get that out of the way. Vegas ends it in 5.
I'm going in 6.
But what I'm saying is, to play devil's advocate here, Florida has done it once. I'm not saying it's easy to do it again, but they've been through that adversity, and they did it against a cup favorite who had the best regular season in NHL history.
One thing about Vegas,
In Boston, if people that don't realize.
one thing about Vegas is when they're obviously apart from the first 2 rounds, the round against Dallas they could have easily ended in 4 or 5, and they didn't. They got a little bit complacent,
Yeah.
right?
So
So when it came to Game 6, obviously it's a big game. They don't want to go to 7,
yeah, like
and then obviously they won Game 6 with a big margin. So that's what I'm saying. That fact that you're up 3-1, I feel like Vegas might go complacent again, and that way Florida could steal one.
yeah. I feel like maybe Vegas has learned that lesson. They're like just end it, and they're on home ice, so you want to raise the cup on home ice
That's true
as
too.
well.
Yeah.
So yeah, it sucks. Obviously, we were rooting for Florida. Like I said, you said by the next pod we'll be talking about Game 6, but I feel like next podcast we'll be talking about the recap of the series.
Yeah, I mean you can't argue with that for sure.
Plus, you kind of, I'll hope for more hockey, but at the same time, I'm like, you know what? Yeah,
It's coming to an end.
It's coming to an end, and it's gonna be Vegas. I feel like either Vegas wins it in 5 or they win in 7. Like my original prediction was Vegas in 7.
Yeah.
But yeah, so as of right now, Vegas in 5. I'm sticking with that. Anything else before we move on?
Not really. Let's move on.
Do you want to move with the coach hire or do you want to go to the trade?
That trade. Let's go.
All right, so let's go. We got another hockey trade, big one. Damon Severson
from the Devils.
Yeah.
Going to the Columbus Blue Jackets, who also added another bolster up their blue line again.
Yeah, so essentially, Damon Severson was a big UFA name. Obviously,
he was probably like one of the best ones.
People were trying to trade for his rights as well. He ended up signing a contract first, but then ended up being a sign and trade of 8 years, $6.25 million per, total of $50 million. So 8 years, $50 million. And then the Devils traded that off because of cap reasons, obviously, to Columbus.
And they also have defensemen coming up. Devils.
Yeah.
Like they have Hughes, they have Nemec. Probably, I think they have one more maybe.
They have Dougie Hamilton still, who had a great year.
Yeah, but the defensively Devils will be fine.
And they have John Marino. So yeah, they're solid.
They'll be fine. They'll be fine.
But going on to Columbus obviously made a big move earlier in the week in the 3-team trade where they got Ivan Provorov in. They added another guy, big defenseman here. I'm not sure how the pairings work because I didn't watch Columbus.
He's a right D, right?
I can't guarantee that.
I think he's a right shot. I'm not sure though.
But either way, you're adding him with a guy like Zach Orensky already there, and you're adding him with Provorov and Damon Severson now. So obviously, like we said last time, Columbus wasn't a team that was supposed to tank this year. They just had to because they didn't have the depth after the injuries. Obviously, Johnny Gaudreau had a decent year for himself because he's Johnny Gaudreau, but you also have the 3rd overall pick, like I said, with Leo Carlson most likely coming up, and I don't know if he's gonna play right away, but you have the pipeline there. You got Kent Johnson with a year of experience, right? And now you're bringing in 2 stud defenders to help Boone Jenner, Johnny Gaudreau, Patrick Laine, who hopefully stays healthy-ish a bit more. So that team is definitely going to make some noise next year, in my opinion. Well, obviously, we'll get into that stuff later on.
The thing, I'm going to go back to this trade. The contract-wise, there's a time limit because Severson's a little bit on the edge, like older, high 20s, I believe, like 28. So, in my opinion, there's like it's an 8-year deal. I feel like you'll get 4 good years max out of them.
Yeah.
Right? So, there's a window for them now that, like, for that contract to look good. So, they're going to have to, like, really pile it on this next couple of years. Otherwise, they're going to go into a pretty deep hole in the future.
Yeah, like I said, I haven't watched much of Columbus or the Flyers, so I don't know. Like, obviously, I know Provorov was a key player in trade deadline last year before his drama happened. But, yeah, Columbus is making moves. Clearly, they're trying to win now and try to make a competitive team around Johnny Gaudreau because you don't pay a guy like Johnny Gaudreau that much money for no reason, right? So you have to make these moves. And I'm not sure who their goalies were because they traded Corpus.
Was like Merzlinkins, I believe.
Yeah, so their goalies are like up and down. They've been up and down, right?
And I don't know if they have another one, but I'm not sure.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's see how that goes. Obviously, this is a start. We already got 2 major trades. Obviously, if the series ends tomorrow, we're gonna start hearing more news. And I think And speaking of making more moves, coaching hires are going to happen, which one happened.
Calgary Flames.
The Calgary Flames have filled in their spot after firing Daryl Sutter after giving him an extension. They were rumored to get Mitch Love promoted from the AHL, their AHL Wranglers team.
But
instead of they promoted their lead assistant, Ryan Huska.
Yeah.
Don't know much about him. Obviously, it makes sense because I was listening to Frank Seravalli as well. He already committed to paying, I think, $4 million a year to Daryl Sutter. So you want to go to the cheaper side of things there. And so that's what they did. They promoted a guy within, which is now question for Mitch Love will be open to other teams because he's obviously a high-end AHL guy. He would be a guy like Columbus. Obviously, Columbus is rumored to get Mike Babcock, but like a younger team like that for sure is available. So that leaves now the Rangers and not unofficially the Jackets, I believe.
Yeah. There's definitely options still left on the table for both teams. It really depends on like what the Blue Jackets go, because the Rangers are going to want a high-end guy.
Like, oh yeah.
Right. So that realistically,
but these moves they made, yeah, for
yeah,
sure.
realistically, Mitch Love, obviously from the AHL, will probably
not fit there.
Well, not fit in the Rangers. So
And the Rangers
if he has a
well.
chance, it's probably Blue Jackets only.
And even then, I don't think with the Blue Jackets moves they made, look like they're committed to Mike Babcock. Let's see how much he's fixed it. And like I said, the Rangers, they need like a top end guy in my opinion. If Joel Cohenville passes the league requirements to come back into coaching, that's a no brainer for me. But yeah, moving on from hockey, Canada sport, to some Canadian news. We don't watch golf. We don't watch much golf. We don't really care for golf, but we're Canadian. We have Canadian pride. Nick Taylor, I believe he's from Abbotsford. I'll double check that. Has won the RBC Canadian Open. So a Canadian won the Canadian Open.
That's good to see. Incredible to see. Funny story. We were at our family volleyball today, right? So then one of our relatives obviously put a bet.
Golf guy.
Big golf, yeah. $5 bet on the Nick Taylor, and Nick Taylor was a big underdog for sure. So the payout would have been incredible.
$3,700 for
Yeah.
$5.
So that was like what? If he obviously let it play out through the whole thing, he would have gone $3,000. But he cashed out and at like what, $13?
Yeah.
So he made $13 out of the bet where he could have easily
because he was 50th or something like that. I don't know. Again, I don't watch golf. I don't care for golf.
Yeah.
No offense to the golf guys watching, but
$5 from $13, where it potentially could have been $3,000.
Sorry, he's not from Abbotsford. He's from born in Winnipeg. I think I'm mistaken of someone else that's from Abbotsford. That's why.
Yeah.
Oh no, he grew up. Never mind. He grew up in Abbotsford.
Bro, make up your mind.
No. I saw the birth. I went by the birth. I'm like, no, he grew up in Abbotsford. So yeah, he played at Ledgeview Golf, which is I think is local. But yeah, congrats Nick Taylor. Obviously
unlucky relative.
Yeah.
Just unlucky.
Yeah, we're not gonna put who it is, but yeah, if you're watching, you know who you are. But moving on, let's go to the NFL. We obviously last time we talked about certain moves that happened, like DeAndre Hopkins and all that. But we were making rapid fire predictions. Who gets a job? One of them was Frank Clark. He got a job. The Denver Broncos are bringing him in after being released by the Chiefs, and he's staying in the division, so he's definitely a motivated guy. And then the Broncos, obviously, terrible season last year. Russell Wilson, obviously, is rumored to be more in shape. I think he wasn't as much in shape. So, obviously, that division is going to be a little tough, but I'm expecting the Broncos to be better. And Frank Clark adds that to that defense, and in general, is big.
Frank Clark had a good year last year with the Chiefs as well.
Yeah,
it was just mainly contract money
so
issue.
He's obviously motivated, staying in the division, like I said. So, I'm excited for the NFL season. I can't wait to do our preview and our rankings and all that stuff, and whatever free agents like DeAndre Hopkins are left remaining. So we'll keep an eye out on that division. And then we also mentioned Dalvin Cook, that he might be a potential guy from after June 1st to get released. Well, he finally officially got released, which is to many a shocking thing because he's still a pretty elite running back in my opinion.
But it was the contract. It was a big contract.
But even then, like, you couldn't trade him. Like, there was even for like a fifth rounder
contract.
But fifth rounder, sixth rounder, future
contract,
seventh.
Bro, that's contract.
Teams do that though. Like Stephon Gilmore got traded for a next year's seventh pick when he went from the Patriots.
Yeah, but his
Panthers.
contract is not Dalvin Cook's contract.
Well, cornerbacks command more money in a way, but I get it's the position.
Stephon
but
Gilmore,
even like
we signed
I'm
him.
listening
He
to
didn't make, he's
I'm
not making that
listening
much
to
money.
like guys like Ian Rappaport and all these, they're like surprised he did not get traded for how much good
Yeah,
he is.
but I feel like I'm looking at other teams wise. Just like I
No, like
believe his
Miami had a trade
contract.
in place. I don't know how it fell apart. Like I don't know if Minnesota
Yeah,
got greedy.
you should get
It's it sucks that it's the running back position. That's the problem.
yeah, that's the issue, right? Like they're
It's not just
easily
the
replaceable.
contract.
They're very replaceable.
Yeah, and he's still rumored to try to command a
A
lot of
contract
money.
is an issue.
He's still trying to rumored to command a lot of money though. He doesn't want to have like the 1 year, $2 million
exactly
contract
see like
in general. But I feel like he will probably end up getting a contract for sure. Like Miami
should,
was trying to trade
100%.
for him, which means obviously Miami's easily linked.
he should. Dalvin Cook is too good to not be playing.
And then Miami should be getting a running back. They need probably an elite running back with that firepower on offense. Obviously, their only question mark is how healthy Tua is going to be because we saw how good Miami was when he was healthy. And yeah, so I feel like teams like Dallas might be looking out. Teams like
Miami, obviously.
Miami, obviously. I'm trying to think. Yeah, I think those are the two big ones.
Those are two biggest ones. Running back needy right now.
Yeah, so yeah, he should get a job. He got released. Like I said, I'm surprised he didn't get traded still for even like a 7th rounder. I still think he's that good of a running back. Dominant running back for sure.
But it's also we don't know what the Vikings wanted. I'm pretty sure they did not just want a 7th rounder.
But which is stupid. Then you're letting him walk for free and you're still paying him.
It doesn't. I don't know, but
You're still paying him. So.
We'll see.
But yeah, let's move on.
Boxing, we had a big fight.
UFC as well, big fights.
Yeah.
At the same time, which sucked, but we ended up making.
We'll go with boxing first.
But yeah, it was entertaining as well. Like you've never watched a Josh Taylor fight before. Obviously Teofimo Lopez we've watched.
And the first fight I watched, Josh Taylor lost.
Teofimo Lopez won like in unanimous decision. It was not really close. I don't know why the judges made it like it was a 1 round difference because it easily could have screwed him over. But Teofimo Lopez, obviously we don't know what the stuff was going on behind the scenes when he put the fight on, and it was definitely an entertaining fight because people were saying that they don't know if he's got it even at 25, and he's younger than me. So, and at the same time, he kind of like he coasted through the last 2 fights. So people were like, okay, well, ever since that Lomachenko fight, he lost to Kambosos, and he just had mad fights. But he ended up fighting Josh Taylor. And Josh Taylor, like I said, we've never watched him fight before, but we've heard stuff that he's really, really good.
And Taylor was like winning the first 3.
Yeah.
Like after for 3 rounds, I would say Taylor was winning, and then an incident happened where Teofimo Lopez pushed.
Yeah.
It was a push, and ever since then, he just got his confidence, and he just looked confident.
Taylor looked good, but this Lopez was the same Lopez that fought against Lomachenko.
He was a confident fighter.
Yeah, so it was a very confident fighter. He did what he needed to do. He obviously didn't slow down like he did in that Lomachenko fight. But, I'm down for a rematch for sure. I think Taylor obviously deserves a rematch because I feel like it'll be an entertaining fight again. But
it should be.
Lopez is rumored to retire. We don't know what's happening with that. He's contemplating it, so we'll see. But, he's a 2-division. I don't think he was undisputed lightweight because of Haney in them. But I think he's undisputed in the light junior welterweight division. So, yeah, it was an amazing fight for sure. Like, obviously, boxing's had some great fights this year to the point where, like, Tank Garcia is probably last on the list now, as anticipated that is, but which makes me excited for next month when Bud versus Spence finally happens.
Bro, that fight has to be the best fight of them all.
We should, hopefully.
Yeah,
but
UFC 289.
UFC is happening at the same time. Rogers Arena, outside of the railing collapsing. It was obviously we didn't watch the first 3 fights, but Canada, we're giving Canadian pride.
Canadian swept, baby. Let's go.
6-0. But we watched the Charles Oliveira fight, and he got a reception like he's from Canada himself, but even though he's Brazilian. And man, that fight was like obviously we quickly loaded up, and it was insane.
It's the classic Oliveira fight. One like he just never out of it. Already Dariush got him down a little bit, early with a takedown. And then Oliveira just found a way to fight back up. And then classic Oliveira just either with a takedown or a knockout punch or knockdown punch, got Dariush down and just finished the fight.
Yeah, it was an insane for round 1 TK or KO. I think it's TKO because the ref stopped it.
Yeah.
But it was like on punches on the ground. So yeah, Charles Oliveira, this fight was supposed to be the winner fighting Makhachev. And he's getting his rematch because he obviously his last fight, he lost it. Well, he technically was not champion because of the whole Gaethje. He missed
half
the weigh-in
a pound,
against
yeah.
Gaethje,
Missed
but either way, like
pound.
in my eyes, he was a champ still because he beat Gaethje, and now he's getting a chance to rematch with Makhachev, and he looks motivated as hell.
He does look motivated.
Post fight
The ring,
interview.
the
That's
ring
what.
interview.
Yeah, but and then the main event was Amanda Nunes versus Aldana, and of no surprise, I guess to many people, really. Obviously, we didn't know much of Aldana, but she dominated. Nunes dominated, pretty much won. Usually it's a 50-45. She ended up winning 50-44, 50-44, and 50-43. So she definitely got like 2 or 3 10-8 rounds in there, 1 or 2.
It was just
And
complete
but the big
domination.
news with that was she has called it. The GOAT has called it.
Yeah.
Put her gloves on the ground, put her belts on the ground, and has called it. Pretty
In
much
Vancouver,
has retired in Vancouver.
out of all the places in
Yeah.
Vancouver.
So obviously, I think we were listening to after she was supposed to fight Juliana Pena for the 3rd time. She said she would have not retired if it was Pena this time because she wanted to retire against a new opponent.
Or maybe being because she wanted an easy win retirement.
True, but obviously she ended up fighting Aldana, and now Pena is accusing her for being scared. But it is what it is. She has no reason to like go back and forth because she is the GOAT in UFC.
Yeah,
women's.
she probably had early L's in the beginning, but fought some big names, beat some big names,
Yeah.
and obviously held 2 belts.
So I mean, I don't know which one of the divisions belt. I don't know what's gonna happen because she's just literally holding on to one. But yeah, congratulations on a great career to Amanda Nunes, and we don't know if she'll come back, but she's adamant that she's not coming back. So, well, as of right now, we're gonna take her word for it and give her a huge congrats in that sense.
Moving
Moving on to the NBA, we're finishing off with the NBA today.
We got Game 4 reaction. Game 4 where the Nuggets dominate again.
Yeah. The Heat won the first quarter by 1. The Heat then lost the second quarter by 5, so they were down 4
And
at half.
whooped in the
They
third
tied
quarter.
the fourth, but yeah, they got whooped
Whooped in the third. And the story was the second and third quarter where the Nuggets really pull away. That's where they pull away.
Yeah. You want to start off with the Nuggets?
Yeah, let's go to Nuggets. We're on a day where we had not Showtime real Jokic, not classic Murray. They
Yeah.
got Aaron Gordon with the best game of his life, getting 27 points, 7 rebounds, 6 dimes on 73% shooting, and 3 of 4 from 3.
Yeah, usually he's the one that's left open out of the starting lineup. As Michael Porter Jr. did better, but struggled still.
He was still 11, 4 of 10. But
Yeah.
the story was Aaron Gordon.
And Bruce Brown.
And Bruce Brown,
Off the
obviously,
bench.
off the bench with a 21 on 72%.
Yeah, so obviously I'll let you talk about more, but Jamal Murray obviously didn't have the classic offensive scoring game.
But,
I was.
you about to say it?
I'm gonna say
12 assists.
Well, no, I'm not going with that either.
Oh, no. Okay, no. Then now let me talk. 12 assists, still found a way to impact the game. Jokic getting fouled out. Not fouled out, like 5
Bullshit
fouls.
foul, though, 5th foul.
Sitting
Bullshit 5th
sitting
foul.
on the bench. Obviously, Murray had to be the
He got some buckets in as well.
facilitator.
And he got some buckets in as
And
well.
so, like, he still found a way to impact the game in a different way.
What I was gonna say was he's the first player in NBA to get 4 straight double-digit assists. Is what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
So jumping
that's
off
obviously.
following what you said there. Yeah, no, he's still great players find ways to impact the game in one way or another, right?
And
Whether it be through defense, scoring, offense, like playmaking, rebounding, in any case, right? That's what makes a star a star, superstar.
And Jokic still had 23 and 12. Yeah, it wasn't efficient 23, but I still had 12 rebounds as well.
So back to Jamal Murray though, we need to talk about him a little bit more because obviously in my eyes, I know you've said it too, even in the Lakers series, that he was gonna be the key if how he's gonna score. Obviously in this game he had 2 not so high scoring games, but obviously the assists make up for that. Because he's usually because Jokic is more of the point guard, right? He's more of the shooting guard type role. But this dude, like we talk about Jimmy Butler elevating in the playoffs, Kawhi Leonard, LeBron James, Kobe, all these guys.
Jamal
Murray, obviously after that bubble, it was no fluke, right? It was not some TJ Warren shit. Obviously TJ Warren was injured, but it was still not TJ Warren shit, right? Jamal Murray made his name in that bubble, and obviously Donovan Mitchell elevated still afterwards. So did he. He just happened to be injured last year, but he's still like after that bubble year, he still started off hot, and then he obviously got hurt, and then missed all of them the next year, and now he's back and he's showing what he was doing. Yeah, he's not dropping 50 bombs, but he's still.
If you were to ask a question, who is that guy in the playoffs? Jamal Murray is on the list now.
Yes, but it also helps when you have Joker with you. So that sucks because Donovan Mitchell didn't have that secondary piece in Utah, and obviously he has a little bit of help now in Cleveland. But yeah, you're right. Because obviously now I'm not putting him in the same tier as those guys, only because they are the guy. He has a guy with him.
Yeah,
but
that's
you
true.
still need that secondary piece, right? Kobe, Shaq,
And like,
Steph and Clay,
it's not
Steph and KD.
yeah, it's not a 1 and 2. It's a 1A and 1B.
Yeah,
That's what he's proven now. No,
in the playoffs, yes, but
that's what matters. It's the playoffs.
True, but I still think he's a clear 2 though.
Like he's a 1B. He's shown that he's a 1B in the playoffs. There's no way.
But
there's no way.
But again, it's not like 1A, 1B would mean LeBron, AD.
And where are they? Got swept by the Nuggets.
This year.
Yeah, okay.
This is the first like true year. I know the bubble was there, that he's doing it in a consecutive. I still think he's a number 2. Like Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, at most is a similarity there, but Jason Tatum's not even a superstar. Jokic is a superstar. He's the best player in the league this year by far now. Right? He's clearly a number 1.
For me, there's clearly Jason Tatum's better than Jaylen Brown. Like Jason Tatum's a clear number 1. And obviously Jokic is a clear number 1. But the way that Jamal Murray elevates his game in the playoffs, Jokic needs that.
But it's with
Jokic needs that.
It's with help. It's not like when Jokic has a bad game.
So 80.
If Jokic has a bad game, right, Murray usually himself cannot win the game for you if one of them has a bad game.
So
right?
But the Lakers didn't do that either.
It's not just the Lakers. I'm talking about like
I don't know, but like you use that example. That Game 3 performance was the best performance by a duo since LeBron and Kyrie's 41 point in 26.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Right. If you're looking at this playoff run, it's a 1A and 1B. They need both to win.
The only reason is I need to see Jamal Murray elevate a little bit more in terms of a whole season regular. I get it. It's the playoffs.
He's doing it in the biggest stage.
It's the first playoffs he's doing this in, though.
But it's the biggest stage, bro.
First one. So if he does it next year, I'll give him 1A, 1B.
Then how you consider LeBron and AD 1A and B?
Because we've seen both.
They only played in one playoff final together.
They were in the playoffs. They went far this year, and they went far that year, too.
Oh, yeah, they made a
LeBron,
bubble.
Kyrie is like, okay, that's more of a 1A and 1B, more than this, in my opinion.
Than LeBron and AD?
No, more than Jokic and Murray. That's more of a 1A and B.
Okay, yeah, you can say more of 1A and B.
That's more of a 1A and B.
You can't
He's in that conversation now, but I'm still giving him a number 2
status. It's still a 1A
status.
and 1B.
I'm still giving him a number 2 status.
It's 1A and 1B. No, I disagree, bro.
What
he's shown in this playoffs run, he's a clear reason, the Lakers were swept.
Yeah, that's fine. And I agree with that. You could put him this year. Yes, this year is 1A and 1B. Can I see it again next year is the question. Then I'm like, okay, for sure it's 1A and 1B. Because when you look at 1A and 1B, Jaylen Brown was a multi-time All-Star. He was an All-NBA player. Jamal Murray isn't. You're not going to get that. Jamal Murray in this playoffs, for sure.
Where was Jaylen Brown?
He was in the finals last year.
Okay, yeah, but what happened now?
He lost in the finals.
So the last time we see a proper Jamal Murray, it was in the bubble, right?
Yeah.
Would you agree?
Yes.
What did he do in the bubble?
Lost to the Lakers.
Lost to the Lakers, but how did
4-1.
It was Jokic and Murray.
They were the key pieces, yes.
1A and 1B.
But then you could say that with a lot of duos.
Murray got injured.
But you could say that with a lot of duos.
Murray got injured. Jokic was nothing.
Yeah,
in the playoffs, no, right?
He elevated for sure. I agree with that. Yes, but you need a number 2. Fine, Kobe and Pau Gasol.
That's Kobe 1.
But Pau Gasol had. We read Pau Gasol as a 2.
Huh?
That's where I have Jamal Murray as. That's my point. Pau Gasol did well in the playoffs. Game 7 in that Celtics series, Pau Gasol carried.
Yeah, Pau Gasol carried, but
in that game,
how many times have we seen in this playoffs Jokic and Murray? It was Jokic and Murray.
But we've seen more of Jokic consistently throughout, though.
Yeah, okay.
And it helps when you play.
But the games they win were mostly Jokic and Murray.
Yeah.
Game 1, Jokic and Murray. Game 3, Jokic and Murray.
That's fine. And
if it's Jokic and Murray, you kind of consider that he's a 1B.
But you could still say Giannis and Chris Middleton.
That's a clear difference, in my opinion.
But Chris Middleton was elevated in the same role exactly what Jamal Murray's doing now. In that
playoff run?
Yes. You didn't say. Obviously, we didn't have a podcast then, but
well,
we were talking about.
I don't remember that right.
That's my point. That's where I'm putting Jamal Murray. He's a clear-cut number 2. He has the potential to be 1A, 1B. Is my point.
I'm putting him there now.
I'm not putting him there right now.
I'm putting him there now.
I can't put him in there right now. If he does this consistently throughout the regular season next year, and he's finally an All-Star that he deserves.
Bro, the Nuggets starting Aaron Gordon's young, Murray's young, Jokic is young, MPJ is young. They could be back next year. They will do it again next year with a good playoff
Then
run.
I'm
They
easily
will.
putting it. I got
They
to see
should, right?
But here's the thing: you're playing with the best player in the world. That's the same thing back then when Middleton
So
was playing with
Middleton was the
the
best player in the world.
That's Middleton was a 2, and that's what my point is. I never
Okay.
said Middleton was 1B.
Okay, then
I said Middleton's a clear 2 back then.
who was the best player in the world in the bubble? LeBron.
You could say LeBron, Giannis.
LeBron. It was
Yeah,
LeBron.
but again, have you not seen Anthony Davis every single game consistently before that? Anthony Davis had a name before he joined the Lakers.
Yeah,
Would you agree with that?
he had a name, but what did he do?
He was the guy for the Pelicans that even when they made the playoffs was putting numbers in the playoffs by himself.
And then he came to the Lakers, and obviously,
And he was an all NBA first team in the first year. And then obviously injuries happened after that.
it's hard, man. It's difficult.
I
Then
think
don't know.
I get your point, and I'm not disagreeing with it completely, but I just need to see it
The
better.
fact that you're doing
This
it
is
in
the
this
first
stage.
one.
It's the first
He's
one.
doing it in this stage.
But it's the biggest
But so did
one.
Chris Middleton, and you're not saying he's a number 2. Jalen Brown did it last year. But
Well,
okay,
who
fine.
struggled?
Even if the Nuggets, this performance happens and the
Okay,
Nuggets.
Bucks
lose.
I consider. Celtics I ain't considering shit because they lost.
Okay, but you got my point with the Middleton one.
Middleton maybe. Okay, but what? How much did he do in the
There,
finals?
people
How much did
people were saying Middleton is the number 1 of that team during that playoff run. That's how disrespecting they were to Giannis.
If that was the case, then I would consider that being 1A, 1B.
I don't think that's a 1A, 1B either.
It could have fall off.
It was a 2.
I'm not saying they're 1A, 1B right now. He could have bounced fall off to a 2, but
Bro,
no.
I love Jamal Murray. He's the perfect Robin. Exactly what Middleton is. 1B, when you consider 1A, 1B, when Jokic is out, can Murray win a game by himself is my point.
Well,
Consistently. But Jokic just has been in the court with him. We've seen Jalen Brown, when Jason Tatum struggled, carry the offense at times.
he didn't do that this year.
This year's out of the equation. I said we agree that Jalen Brown's a 2. I'm just saying that it's more of a debate. Jalen Brown is making. There's a reason why he's going to be making a shit ton of money if he stays with the Celtics, because he's been a multi-time All NBA guy. Jamal Murray hasn't shown that yet. That's the key.
One thing, they weren't winning Game 3. I mean, they weren't. If Jamal Murray didn't, he didn't shoot well. But if Jamal Murray didn't play well, they weren't winning Game 4.
That's fine. You could still play well and be considered a great
Yeah, but
2.
Jokic. So when Jokic was off, Jamal Murray stepped up his game.
This one game though, how many times have Jokic just been in foul trouble in the playoffs? Realistically,
There's been a lot.
where he had 5 fouls sitting in the fourth quarter.
Well, he's been
Game
in,
3, how
he's
did
been
Jokic
in-
sit out in the third quarter?
Yeah, no, but he's been in foul
Or fourth
trouble.
quarter.
You can't say he's not been in foul trouble
But like
a lot.
at this stage, or at that moment, even during the Lakers series, he got early foul trouble, not late foul trouble.
But the thing is this, bro. A triple-double while your best player is putting up a triple-double. They needed all of that triple-double.
I'm not disagreeing with you that that's an elite number 2. 1A and 1B is like you could still be the best player, like how AD was with the Pelicans. Jamal Murray ain't that. James Harden, you could say now he's a number 2. James Harden's a 1A, 1B situation back then because he was the best player for the Rockets and they didn't do much either.
Yeah, so
My point is Jamal Murray is a clear number 2 because if you put Jamal Murray on his own team, Jamal Murray ain't going to carry you to the playoffs. Like Anthony Davis did a few times, like a guy
but
like
1A and 1B, you're doing it together. That's why.
It's a 1 and a 2 is my point.
But 1A and 1B, you're doing it together.
Yeah,
You're
okay.
performing
for
at-
this one playoff series though. Exactly what Chris
Not
Middleton
one-
did.
This whole playoff
Playoff
run.
run. This whole playoff run is what I meant to
That's not a
say.
series.
This whole playoff run. But when you say a number 1, a clear number 1 is a guy who carry his own team. And
Jokic
if
didn't
he's
do
on
that.
his own team, like
He
Jokic
needed
just do
Murray.
that.
He needed Murray.
Yes, everybody needs a number 2.
Yeah, but
And Murray is that number 2.
The
You think Steph
elevation.
Curry would have won by himself? Not the KD years. I'm talking about the Clay years last year, or even the first year they won.
Steph,
Is Klay Thompson a 1 or B or a 2?
last year?
No, in general. In the early championship, like the year they won without KD, before KD joined.
The year they won, it was
Steph was the number 1.
Steph struggled himself.
But he's still the number 1.
Yeah, Steph.
But my
number one.
point to you is, if you're a number 1 on a team, you could carry that team to the playoffs. Not every year, but to that year. James Harden did that. Anthony Davis did that. Jokic did that last year. Embiid, even before like Simmons was in a 1B before Harden came. Even Harden's a 2. So that's my point. I get your point that he's doing it this playoff run, but Jamal Murray by himself will not carry a team to the playoffs. That's why he's a number 2. Same thing as Chris Middleton.
Yeah,
Pascal
okay,
Siakam is a clear number 2. He was not a 1A, 1B situation
I
like
get
Kawhi
your
Leonard's
point.
on.
But,
That's my point.
But no, like what I'm saying from him, I have to consider.
You're
saying from him, I have to consider this.
Okay, Jamal Murray by himself, take Jokic out of the equation. Is this team in the championship? Is this team even in the playoffs? Yes or no? Let's replace.
They could be 18.
Replace.
They could be 18.
Replace Jokic.
They could be in a play-in for sure.
Without Jokic.
Yeah.
Okay,
make a play-in.
Take out Jokic and put in Miles Turner. Put it that Miles Turner instead of Jokic.
Yeah, they could make a play-in. For sure.
Play-in.
Playoffs.
That doesn't mean they're in the playoffs.
Yeah, but
are
they have perennial?
Are they a constant 6 seed max?
They could make a 6
Jokic
seed.
put this team on the 6 seed when he lost his second best player in Murray and his third best player.
But
he's not a 1B. He's an elite number 2.
Bro, I'm sorry, I can't. Like
I
get your point. I get your point.
But my point is that if you're talking about this playoffs, sure, 1A, 1B just for the playoff run. But when you're putting him on your own team, Jamal Murray ain't a 1. He's a 2. He's an elite number 2. He's a perfect complement. Like how Kobe had Pau Gasol. Like how Shaq and Kobe were a thing. Like how LeBron and D Wade were a thing. And LeBron and Kyrie.
If it's this Jamal Murray, this playoff Jamal Murray.
Yeah.
What is he? What is this playoff Jamal Murray?
I want to see it during a regular season when Jokic is out. And I want to see it consistently in the next year's playoffs.
But what would you consider this Jamal Murray right now? Don't say what I want to see it again. What do you consider him right now?
A 2.
No, this playoff run. Just take this playoff run. Right
yeah,
here.
But
what is he playing like?
Jokic.
What is he playing like? A 1B or a 2?
A 2.
He's playing like a 1B right now.
Dude, okay. What was the series before the Lakers? Suns. He had the elite game 1. What the hell did he do after that?
What was his stats?
I hope I'm right on this because I'm pretty sure he did not go off after. When he said, remember that post game?
Okay, but he was the main reason why they got rid of Timberwolves early as well.
But that's the fucking Timberwolves.
Yeah, I know, but still.
Hold on, let me pull it up.
Well, we're going to have to move on, too.
Well, we don't have much to talk about. Your stupid Raptors next. But
we got to move on to the Heat stuff.
I didn't know you were going to bring this like this. But no, he's an elite number 2, and that's it.
It's not that's it.
He's an elite number 2. He's playing like a 1B in this playoffs, but he's not a 1B in general.
So that's what I'm saying.
No, you're saying he's a 1A and 1B.
I'm saying that you can start considering that.
Okay, so game 1, he had 34, 5, and 9.
Yeah.
Right?
Obviously, I know he struggled in game 2 and 3, I'm pretty sure.
That's my point. Yeah, 10 points on 3 for 15 shooting in game 2. You don't get that consistently. If you're in a 1B, like an elite, if you're a 1. Like a 1B is a guy you could handle your own business.
What was LeBron and AD this year?
That's a 1A and 1B because AD had monster playoff performances, even when LeBron was shit.
It's tough.
And then the same thing with LeBron and AD. Even during the year, Anthony Davis was the moments he was playing, he should have been an All-Star and he should have been an All-NBA player. He was arguably the 2 stretches he had before injury and before injury.
But he's the same inconsistencies as Jamal
But his
Murray.
defensive end is a monster impact. And you know that.
Impact. Jamal Murray impacting the game different ways as well. Jamal Murray's facilitating and playmaking is impacting the game.
I think game 5 he was good. Or 4. Game 2, 3 he struggled.
Yeah. And I think the rest of the way he was decent.
Like he was mad. Like he was okay. Like Jokic dropped 53, Murray dropped 28. But that's
good.
How much of that is Jokic dropping 53 though?
But still dropping 28. He still did his part.
And they lost that game, by the way.
Yeah, but it's like
because Jokic.
The only reason they wouldn't lose that game is like if Booker and fucking KD dropped like.
But no, Jamal Murray's a number 2 in this league. He's not a 1A, 1B situation. If you're talking about is your question just this playoff run? Is that your question? If it's just this playoff run, I 100% agree with you. But if you're talking about he's a 1A, 1B in just general basketball, hell no. Yeah, he's an elite number 2.
I'm saying that he's
propelling his game because he's playing with Nikola Jokic, who's the best player in basketball.
I'm saying he's been a 1B in this playoffs.
Okay, in this playoffs, fine, I agree with that.
And now I'm saying that he will be a 1B next year.
Okay, that's you're projecting. We'll have to talk
I'm
about
not saying.
that.
I'm not saying.
I still think he's a number 2 because your whole career you're playing with Nikola Jokic. The dude who never gets injured himself, usually. Jokic, he'll usually miss games for sitting out. That's it. Load management. Jamal Murray will not be... He might be like... Shea is propelling. Who's better, Shea or Jamal Murray?
Jamal Murray.
In general.
What I'm saying right now is Jamal Murray.
Oh my God, you're bugging. Shea Gilgeous-Alexander alone carried that team to where they are with that young ass team. And you're saying Shea is,
I'm considering the whole
Shea
season.
is an all NBA. Shea is an all NBA player. What was Jamal Murray?
He was getting back from his injury. Now we're seeing the full.
Okay, so
we're seeing the full Jamal Murray right now.
We gotta see that next year.
Okay, yeah.
Then I'll agree.
Then how am I supposed to assess it if Jamal Murray's been out?
But you're projecting it for next year. You literally just said, I think he'll be a 1B next year. I'm saying hell no. Is my point.
I said I think he will be.
We saw Shea as the number one guy who made all NBA. You could argue De'Aaron Fox and Jamal Murray if you want, but not Shea. Hell no.
Okay, yeah, then fine. I'll agree with you, Shea. I'll take back the Shea one. But Jamal Murray, the way he's playing right now, and if he carries it over, which I believe he will, because that team is young. Let me finish. That team is young, and they need him to be what he's been doing right now in order to win again.
He still has a really good team around him as well. But I'm telling you right now, and the problem is we're never going to see them separated because I don't want them to see separated. But again, if your point is this playoffs, I agree with you for the playoff run. But I'm not agreeing with you as a player in the NBA as a number one option. Because if you're 1A, 1B, you're one somewhere else. Whether it be just like Cade Cunningham, like Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, he's not that. If you replace Shea and Jamal Murray, this version of Jamal Murray, I don't know if they make it that far. Because Shea could also play defense. Is my point.
No, that team will be in play-in. If you're saying this Jamal Murray, you're saying this Jamal Murray.
Shea could play defense.
Okay, but you're saying this Jamal Murray could help that OKC team make the play-in.
Shea has been so consistent the whole year. He was getting MVP votes.
Yeah, I'm not saying Shea. Like, I'm not saying they would have won the first play-in game like how Shea did. But I'm saying they could have made the play. Like, who's worse than them? Portland shit. San Antonio shit. Houston
That's
shit.
That's fine.
How are they not making the play-in if they switch? How are they not?
Who knows? Are you talking about this OKC team with Jamal Murray?
Yeah, you said switch him. You saying playoff Jamal Murray. You said switch him with Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. They're making the playoff. I'm not saying. I said I took it back about the Shea one. I agree with you that Shea is a one. All
okay,
right?
But then I'm taking. If you're talking about matchup, Dame over Jamal Murray there. If you're talking about that Portland.
Matchup. Okay, no, but the Portland.
Because you also got to see the style of play. Shea and Jamal Murray are different styles of players. Jamal Murray complements so well with Nikola Jokic. You're underestimating that, in my opinion. That Jamal Murray, who's his big man there? Chet was injured. You can't even say Chet's name right now.
Yeah, but
Pokusevski was injured.
Are you seeing the difficult ISO shots that Jamal Murray is making this playoff?
How consistent can you make that every time? We're seeing it in the playoffs, and I agree with you. This run,
the playoffs. That's the thing.
It's the playoff run in a proper setting. I'm not saying the bubble counts. I'm not saying the bubble does not count. He did it in the bubble where everybody was playing ball.
So it's his second one.
Okay, now he was coming back from injury, but how much is the factor that Jokic is his teammate? Is my point to you.
Obviously,
he's an elite number 2. He's in that Chris Middleton tier. You're acting like I'm disrespecting Jamal Murray.
I'm not saying you're Did I say that?
No,
did I act like that?
That's what it seems like because the way you're going at me is like I'm saying it's a bad thing.
I'm not saying it's a bad. Did I say it's a bad thing? I did not say it's a bad thing.
In a way, it is.
I mean, you raised your voice, so I raised my voice back. What else is gonna happen? You're like, bro, no. He's a number 2. I'm like, no, he's a 1B.
If you're saying he's a 1B next year, then we have to wait. But I'm saying I'm saying he's not a 1.
He's gonna project him. He will project himself.
I think he's an elite number 2. That's it. I think he's an elite.
All right, let's move on to the Heat.
All right.
Let's just move on to the Heat. We stop talking about this. I know that we're probably gonna still argue about this later on.
Comment down below what you guys think. But
who won the argument?
Yeah,
comment my name.
What do you guys think?
Comment my name. Jimmy Butler, 25, 7 and 7. On efficient shooting, but
that's not Jimmy Butler.
You still need 30 plus at least.
If Max Strus is struggling, if Gabe Vincent is struggling, if Caleb Martin, even though he put up 11, it was slightly better, but that's still 11 points. That's not the Eastern Conference Finals of Caleb Martin. You need to be Milwaukee Jimmy Butler.
Yeah. The 3 players that did play well were Kevin Love, Duncan Robinson, and Kyle Lowry.
Yeah,
they both put up double digits.
And then Bam was still fine, but Jimmy Butler, you can't rely on that. Jimmy Butler needs to put a game on his back now. We've seen it enough. Tyler Hero's not coming back. I think his injury is still the same. And there's no point arguing about the Tyler Hero part because now at this point we agree that they need him. But Jimmy Butler, this next game, needs to be like how he was in the bubble Lakers, that game, the game 5 where he put his team on the back and played like 48 minutes. That's what this Jimmy Butler needs. The problem is how is he going to do that for the next 3 games?
Yeah, I agree with you. That's tough for sure. I personally believe that he should make a change in the lineup, and I think they should start Kyle Lowry. They play better with Kyle Lowry on the court. The pace that they play with Kyle Lowry needs to it needs to be from the
So who are
beginning.
you putting on the bench?
Strus.
So you're saying Gabe Vincent, Kyle Lowry, Jimmy Butler,
Yeah, because
Kevin Love,
Gabe
and
Vincent has showed up in these finals at
yeah,
least.
and Gabe, and then
Strus
Kevin Love,
hasn't.
and then Bam Adebayo, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you.
You agree?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would
After
make
that
that change.
argument, I think
No more arguments, right?
No, I'm not even saying that. I genuinely agree with that. I think
I think it has to be that because Gabe
you
Vincent
need
has
to
shown
play
something.
those guys at least 40 minutes at this point. And
Yeah.
yes, can you get a spark plug with Strus if shooting wise? And if Kyle struggles early, then you take him
You
off.
can always take him off. Yeah,
Yeah.
you still have Caleb
You
Martin.
need to make a change. You're down 3-1. You lost 2 games at home. You shouldn't be losing 2 games at home. You know, we said it was supposed to be split at this point. But yeah. Also, you want to factor in back to the Denver thing slightly, because I forgot to mention this one big thing. Their defense has been causing a lot of issues for Miami as well.
Their defense has been incredible.
Yeah.
Like I said, bro, this is the reason why I love Denver this year is because of their defense. They didn't have that the last couple of years, and that's why they struggled a lot. The fact that they improved it defensively a lot made me confident that Denver could actually make the final, especially when they beat the Suns. So my question to you: can the Heat come back?
That was my question to you.
Well, I asked it first, so answer.
Well, I have a secondary question after, but no.
I agree.
It
It's
ends
over
in
in 5. It has to be
It
over in
ends
5.
in 5. So my question to you is, which team, Florida or Miami, has the potential of coming back from 3-1 the most? We did this last time and we got it completely wrong with the Lakers and Celtics were down 3-0 at that time.
Well, I believe Florida will win Game 5. I don't believe Miami will win Game 5.
Obviously, I clearly said both ends in 5.
Yeah, you said both ends in 5.
If I were to pick one, I'm picking Florida because
a goalie could get hot.
Because I didn't see Jimmy Butler yet. That's
Yeah,
it. If I see one Jimmy Butler game like how Jokic had that 53-point game against the Suns, or like even in this series, like that game 3 performance.
Game 2, yeah.
If I see that Jimmy Butler performance, then I would have.
You'll have hope, right? Because that's what
Jimmy putting points. Don't get me wrong; those are good numbers. Like those are good numbers, but those are not like over the top numbers.
Yeah, the thing with difference between hockey and basketball is Bobrovsky's shown that he's a hot goaltender. Like he could be a hot goalie, and if he could get that back again a little bit, it's gonna be hard. It's hard to beat a goalie. Like we saw Vegas struggle against Demko in the bubble.
Yeah.
Right. Another thing is that, like you said, Jimmy hasn't had the game yet in the finals, right? So since we haven't seen that, obviously we've seen Bobrovsky made some big saves in these finals, for the NHL. So that's why that was my 2 biggest factors, and now I'll put my belief more in the Panthers.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I think I agree with you there. The Panthers, I think it's just the way hockey is as well. You could get goalied at any moment. Here I've not seen a bad Jokic game yet. Obviously, we've seen a less scoring Murray, but we've seen in the finals we've seen a playmaking Murray, and Aaron Gordon and Matt. They get 1 or 2 more guys going off. It could be Christian Brown again. They'll win this game.
Yeah.
Simple. Unless if Jimmy Butler even goes off for 50, he needs a secondary scorer. At least 2, in my opinion. One of them's got to be Bam, and then one of them's got to be probably a Gabe Vincent or a Max Strus or whoever.
Or Martin off the bench.
Yeah, so, yeah, I agree with you there, but I ultimately think they both end in 5. But if the potential to come back and win the series, it's going to be, for me, it's Florida. Now, if this is anything like last time we made this prediction, flip might happen.
Yeah, it might be completely wrong, but...
Yeah. All right, moving on. After all that,
we saw more.
Yeah. Well, you're wearing the shirt. You obviously have big news. So the last vacancy coaching spot has been filled. The Toronto Raptors have finalized former Memphis lead assistant
Darko
Rajakovic, Rajakovic, something like, I don't know. Yeah. We'll learn it more. You'll learn it more watching games. He started coaching when he was 16 years old in Serbia.
So he's experienced.
He's 44 right now.
My new favorite Serbian.
Outside of Jokic.
I don't know if I had one before, but he's it's probably Jokic.
But no, he's now 44. He's coached in OKC, or he was the assistant for Serbia's coach. He was assistant coach for Serbia national team. He coached in the G League as a head coach. He's coached assistant coach for the OKC Thunder early on, 1 year with Phoenix, and recently with Memphis. And he's rumored to be a great player development coach, which Scotty Barnes, I'm not saying he's a superstar. Can he have that potential? We don't know. right? Anyone could be a superstar, like a Jokic, second round pick, right? You know, Giannis and Kawhi late or mid first rounders became superstars, so you could maybe have a potential there. Um, and your potential, whoever picked, what you got, 13,
Yeah.
and then whatever trade you make.
Hopefully.
And the other thing before I let you go on, because it's your team, is that reports were that the Raptors wanted a coach that could either contend or rebuild.
All
So
right.
they haven't made their decision yet.
We're rebuilding. There's
All right, I'll let you have the floor.
who is running that organization is Masai Ujiri. The fact that if you ever think that you're gonna contend with this roster, you're bugging. All right,
Bugging.
you're bugging. This absolute
Bro,
like,
this podcast got you saying words I've never heard you use before.
bro. I feel like I've seen in like sidemen videos and stuff,
Yeah.
bro. Like UK, UK words.
Yeah,
and
but
stuff.
anyways, continue.
It's a rebuild. This guy's a developmental coach for sure. You gotta get yourself. You gotta change the roster, right? There's no. The closest star available was Kevin Durant. He's not available anymore, right? Maybe Damian Lillard could be available.
But
I
he's no
doubt.
Kevin Durant. I don't think he's that guy to put you over the top.
Yeah. All right.
Like
And
Kevin
then
Durant will be.
and I don't think he's probably. I don't think Toronto will be a preferred destination for him.
Yeah.
And then
Plus the 60 million cap hit.
plus that. Also, Dame likes some Raptors players, like OG Anunoby, right? Pascal Siakam could work there as well. So trade him. If you trade, get rid of him.
You've had prior business with them before.
Prior business with the Gary Trent Jr. Norman Powell trade. So if we could get like the number 3 overall pick by getting rid of them, Siakam or Anunoby or maybe both, and hopefully get like someone like Brandon Miller or Scoot Henderson, and then you have Rajakovic, right, coming in with from Memphis, who obviously turned around.
Considering that team, even without Ja, they were still a second place
Yeah.
team. Not just this year, but the previous year when Ja was injured. And on top of that, that young team who was potential was playing, like how we were earlier talking about the Jamal Murray situation. Not situation, but like that debate. He put them in a second seed like 2 years in a row. Only team behind or ahead of them was the Nuggets.
And then the Suns.
And the Suns the year before.
Yeah, so like he's shown that like he could, or he's helped take like, you know, a young team and put them up to a different level. So
Yeah.
that's why rebuild makes more sense. He's been coaching for a long time, like as you said. So like obviously we're not gonna know what's gonna happen until it happens. So I'm excited to see. But this roster needs to change for sure to help him out.
Okay, so here's a couple questions for you. Should he bring in like what Adrian Griffin did, a veteran head coach? I don't know, saying Doc Rivers, but someone like that.
I mean, obviously, like if you can do it, but the thing with I agree. If you can,
He's
do
a
it.
first-time head coach and he's 44.
Yeah, if you can do it.
The only
That's
way
all
is
I'm
like he
saying.
has to have a young roster, which he will.
Yeah,
The other thing is he's also helped the shooting of that team. Like Jaw's a much better shooter.
and then
than
also
he was projected.
turnovers.
And the turnover stuff, you have Tyus Jones, who's like one of the best, who is the best assist to turnover ratio at like 1 point something. And how much he will help Scotty in that, because he's probably going to be your point guard, point forward, or Malachi or whoever you decide. But yeah, no. As a guy who watched a bunch of Raptors game as well, bless you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I agree with you. Call Portland, call Houston if Houston decides to, you know, screw their shit up and go after James Harden and Jaylen Brown or whoever, Middleton, and then call them up, get the number 4 pick. Even if you get Eamon Thompson, he's he might not be a shooter, so you want shooters around Scotty. But like I said, you got a coach that could help you develop in that. I don't know who your whole roster, coaching staff is gone, right?
Whole coaching staff is gone, so this is a complete turnaround coaching staff wise, and obviously, like I said, roster needs to change. Another thing is that like Scotty's the biggest piece we have right now, obviously. So then obviously him being young, pairing up with another young stud will always help.
And you obviously keep your 13th pick. I obviously saw maybe a pick swap could happen, but even if you have to do a pick swap, it depends on the trade. If you're giving up both, like let's just say sign and trade Gary Trent back to Portland with Pascal, you get the 3rd pick and you get Scoot Henderson. Because right now reports are Brandon Williams is going second.
Yeah.
Or Brandon Miller, not Brandon Williams, Man United left. Brandon Miller is going second. Obviously, Scoot Henderson again probably needs to work on shooting a bit, but you get a true point guard. Scotty could be that point forward now, and you surround those guys with shooters. Scotty, elite defensive player in this league. I don't know how how much Scoot is in that sense. But again, this is a hypothetical. We'll get into that draft week, which is next week, I believe. Um, but yeah, I agree that it should be time for a rebuild. And who knows? Like, look at OKC, how fast they went up, even with Memphis, Jaw, right? You're hoping Scotty takes that Jaw type of leap. And if he does, or a Shea type of leap, and if he does, you guys should be back in like play in playoff.
It also
picture.
depends like who we get rid of, right? Like if we still
No,
have
for sure.
like
But
if
like,
we still have other pieces like
if you make a fun upcoming young team, like how the OKC Thunder are, and you already have a piece like they had in Shea and Scotty Barnes, and whoever you decide to draft at 13, and maybe he becomes a stud. Maybe you do trade Pascal Siakam finally, because right now I saw a report that Fred is gonna opt out and leave. So you need a point guard anyways.
yeah, so
You
that's
have
why
Malachi on the roster, but can we finally see him play? Maybe this 1 year, just let them have fun. Let's see how much. Don't have expectations.
let him assess, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean there's definitely options.
because we
But
don't know who's in contendership, who's gonna be
yeah,
available, and what are
there's
you gonna
no
get rid of to get them.
there's no one. And
There's
we
no
have
free agent. Like James Harden ain't gonna help you.
it's not.
Yeah.
It's obvious. Like it's rebuild and find a way to just get young assets.
All right, moving on. We'll get into that more later. Charles Lee, who was your finalist as well, for the Raptors head coaching spot. I think also the Pistons, if I'm not mistaken, is moving on from the lead assistant from the Bucks, which I don't fully blame him either, because Adrian Griffin brought in Terry Stotts, and you hired Adrian Griffin while you had a guy there. He's joining Boston's Celtics lead assistant spot, who recently brought Sam Cassell, like we said last time. And yeah, I don't know how much of a head spot coaching job he'll get next year, because obviously there'll be coaching openings next year for sure, whether it be through contract or firings. But there's that spot. There is, I have some more written here. So we missed some from last week, because obviously we had like massive news last week to talk about. The Suns hired Fizdale as the assistant, so he's reunited with Vogel.
Yeah.
Steven Silas, who recently got fired or didn't get his contract extended with the Rockets, is now the lead top assistant for Monty Williams at the Pistons. And the Wizards hired Bill Dawkins from OKC as their GM now.
Yeah.
Which was also a couple of days ago. So those are the updates on the coaching staff side of things for basketball. The last thing we need to talk about is we had a trade, nothing massive, but a small trade. So I'll pull that up. The Denver Nuggets made some trade for picks with the OKC Thunder, which kind of makes sense because OKC.
Imagine the scenes if they were like allowed to trade a player. They're like, yeah, nah,
Oh,
you
no,
gotta
no.
leave.
I mean, I'm sure you could. I don't think the teams that are eliminated can, obviously.
Yeah, I know, but like imagine like, I'm in the NBA finals. Like, nah, you got traded. Get off the court. Well, obviously,
like, you can't. It's not. That's after July 1st. Right?
Yeah, I know. Obviously, you can't do that. But I'm just saying as jokes, because the fact that they were able to make a trade would
So
surprise me a little bit.
I'm gonna just read this straight up from ESPN. In a rare trade involving an NBA Finals participant,
That's why I'm just like
the
saying
Denver
that.
Nuggets are acquiring 2024 first and second round pick and 2023 second round pick in a deal with the OKC Thunder for a protected 2029 first round pick. And this happened on Friday. And the Nuggets will get the least favorable of the OKC's first round picks in 2024, because obviously OKC has a lot of picks, so they're gonna give them the least favorable. Essentially, what this does is, and they get the 37th pick in the June 22 draft, the date 22. Essentially, what this does is this gives Denver leverage to make more trades, whether they win or not this year. To make, because obviously the new cap rules are apply with the new CBA. I don't know what the full details are. I'm not a cap guy. We'll have to definitely look into more of that, because I think there's some rules with the tax level exceptions and all that. So this actually gives them leverage that, like, let's just say they can't bring back a guy on their roster. They could trade one of these lower leverage picks for, a guy like Bruce Brown again, or on the lower end, like Christian Brown, probably. Yeah. They do need depth. As good as they're playing, I still think they need depth, but yeah. And then OKC had massive picks. They might as well just take a risk on 2029. Right? They're hoping to be playoff like godly contenders by then, 2029.
Yeah, so that's pretty much it, right?
Yeah.
After
first ever heated debate that we had.
I'm sweating after that, honestly.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, it's also pretty hot.
But comment down below what you guys think about that. If Jamal Murray's gonna is a 2 in this league, or is he a 1B like Jobin is saying? But other than that, pretty much it.
Yeah.
So like, comment, and subscribe. We're almost at 100 subs. Comment anything, not just the Jamal Murray stuff. Anything you guys we've missed, maybe what you guys think where Dalvin Cook will end up, stuff like that. How the playoffs will finish. And download our podcast when it comes out on our audio platforms. And we'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.